like me personally, I like Scott Hanna. Like I've always liked Scott Hanna. I wish I could get in touch with him to do some commissions right now, but with him being tied up with Spider-Man, like there's just no way. But this guy pumped out 20 sketch covers for me in 3 weeks. Like who does that?
That's crazy, man. This is what I'm talking about. Just the volume of stuff that you're getting. I don't know anybody who's competing with you. Just being honest. 20 in 3 weeks from a professional, like a
professional.
You know, everybody knows Scott Hanna. That's crazy that you were able to get that kind of productivity out.
The same thing for Bob Layton as well. You pay him, he's very professional and knocks him out. And I think my last 10 I did was about 2 or 3 weeks as well.
What's up, everybody? Sketch Guide here, and today I have with me Phil the Thrill. This is a man that you need to know. Definitely a sketch cover god, a man amongst boys, somebody who has taken the art of commissioning for sketch covers to the next level. Phil, thanks for joining us. Let everybody know what's up.
I appreciate it, Sketch God. I'm Phil the Thrill. Nobody probably knows me just for the simple fact that I just do so many commissions, but I don't really show them too much, or I'm just not really well out there because it's Instagram only.
Instagram only until now.
Until now. Yeah, that's right.
So today, YouTube, you guys are in for a treat. This guy has quite the goods. He definitely is going to take you on a tour of what's possible when you take this sketch cover commissioning game seriously. So, Phil, before you start showing off some parts of your collection, also, some of you should know there are things he's willing to part with. So, again, Phil the Thrill Collectibles on Instagram. That's something you're going to want to write down. Please follow this man, because I'm sure as you watch this episode, you're going to see a couple of goodies that you would like to take home. With that said, Phil, tell these people a little bit about your journey from traditional comic collector to somebody who got into art to a commissioning king that you are nowadays.
Well, I started young, only doing like Sonic the Hedgehog, growing up playing Sega Genesis. And I ended up turning that into just stopping for a while, but eventually I got back to it when Kevin Smith put his show Comic Book Man out, and eventually I started looking into eBay, and before you know it, I started with getting Spider-Man comics again, and ended up coming across somebody that was an art rep, and he's been mentoring me, and ever since I've been running with it since.
Okay, and by running with it since, you're basically meaning, or you're basically getting across that through your mentor, you got some insight into what exactly, like what did you learn from that individual that gave you the confidence to go out there, approach artists, and get the kind of work that you're going to show people later this episode?
This guy was a CGC rep, did like Stanley, Joe Sinott, John Romita Sr., guys like that, and then eventually transitioned to being one of the first CBCS witnesses and going through them and still handling with them and doing big books and signed by Stan. And before you know, just doing the art from there. He was like, "You want to buy a book?" And before you know it, we were going off running with all the stuff that he would do for me on the side, like at New York Comic Con or Boston or Terrificon.
Okay, so you basically, the con circuit well, and you have a real sense of really how to connect with artists and get work that's desirable. So with that said, let's not, keep people in suspense. Show us what you got for us today. What do you want people to focus on first?
Me personally, I got to go with John Romita Sr. Here's my first one. I got a little remark by him. I did a lot of books with this guy right when I started getting back into this stuff. And before you know it, my buddy helped me out and he got me a remark. This, I think, at the time would have been like a $900 remark. I got it for the price of the signature. And then I ended up adding Scott Hanna here. And I eventually am going to do a whole bunch of other things I still need to do on the book as well. But this is probably one of my top 5 books. I really miss the guy, and I had a chance to talk to him for a second through my friend, so it was really nice to have that moment.
So first of all, rest in peace to John Romita Sr. We miss you. Big loss for the comic community this year. I think the key thing that you said there, other than the heartfelt sentiment about his passing, you have multiple books that John Romita Sr. worked on.
I have at least just like his signature on them, and I have a bunch of like recreations of his covers.
Cover recreations, sketch cover recreations.
Correct.
Okay, yeah, folks, feel the thrill again. This is going to be quite the episode. So we're off to a good start. What else do you want us to check out, Phil?
This one I had a actual personal interaction with Billy Tucci through my mentor, who he did a lot of sketch covers with. I ended up meeting him at a show, and I ended up having to pay for some hockey tickets for him and his son because his wife wouldn't let him buy the tickets. And lo and behold, he did this sketch for me. I waited about 8 months for it, and you can't go wrong with this one. He don't do stuff like this anymore.
I gotta say, well, first of all, much respect to Bill Tucci. Hopefully he's okay with you revealing that he got hockey tickets that Mrs. Tucci didn't want him to have by doing a little bit of sketch work. With that said, for most long-term collectors, particularly those of us who came of age in the 90s and early 2000s, the Wizard years, She, very familiar property, one of the hot bad girl books of the time. And, Bill Tucci really did make a name for himself with his work on that self-published character created by him. And, getting him to draw She, for anybody who is nostalgic for that era who came about in that era, it's a nice pickup. It's a great book.
Right here was the guy that I think could have been J. Scott Campbell, before J. Scott Campbell. You know what I mean?
Definitely an influence on Campbell. Again, it's one of those things where if you were collecting comics in that era and you're familiar with all those Wizard top artist lists and, hot 10 lists, they both were mentioned at the same time. She could be on there along with Gen 13.
Now, I don't know if this is, I don't know if he drew this on the back or if this was the back of the blank, because these were his blanks. But this is on the back, and I can't get confirmation, but
see,
it looks like a sketch to me, but I would have to take it out the slab to really, really know.
It's a tough one because, truth be told, I can't say that I've seen a She blank recently. So I know once upon a time, I'm talking about years back when I really first started dealing with sketch covers, I saw like a couple of those. I want to say at maybe a local shop. I'm in Long Island, New York. I want to say I think I saw a couple of those, but I can't recall if there was something printed on the back or if that's original work. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for you though that's original work, because it definitely it looked pretty badass. All right, what else, Phil?
All right, we're gonna go with Orion Stegman sketch. Only reason I want to bring this one up is because of the fact that you got as his co-creator here, co-created the character. I love Noel. I got this before the big frenzy and his hike up in price. I originally paid about $250 for this. Oof. And I love this sketch. I would love for him to get maybe JP Myers to do something, or even have Ryan finish it.
And as Phil just pointed out, we're talking about a creator of a character doing a pencil sketch of that character close to the creation date. I mean, is that something you got a few years back?
Probably, when it was probably within let's see, this was 28/12, 29/18. So it was in like maybe within 4 or 5 months after that Venom 3 came out.
Very cool. So in that window when Null was first introduced to the general public, very nice collectible, something that you want to hold on to, I would assume.
Definitely so, unless someone wants to give me a very nice offer for it. But I would prefer not to. But I do have a couple other Stegman sketches I'm willing to part with.
Got it. Okay. So he does have some Stegmans ready to go. What else you want to show us, Phil? I know it's tough for you to narrow it down. I mean, I've been following you for a while. The volume of work this guy commissions is something.
I'd rather try and go with someone like I had like maybe a personal talk with to have the sketch done. And I know that he's still on the circuit a lot. I went with Ron Ferenz.
Okay.
Lucky for me, Tom DeFalco was there as well. And I love that new Spider-Verse movie. Ended up finding out that Mayday's in it as well. No spoilers here. But you can't go wrong with this character.
Mayday, I think, was a pretty nice revelation for a lot of folks who weren't into comics. I know just chatting with a few people who are casual fans, they didn't know anything about the alternate future for Peter. Definitely. Where he would, have this daughter. And I think getting a glimpse of that definitely has raised awareness of that character and created, I think, a possible lane for us to maybe get Spider-Girl, MC2 Spider-Girl back in business, and maybe the Renew Your Vows, nice line they had. We may get more glimpses of Mayday, but in the meantime, what you're showing us, very, very cool sketch. And again, Tom DeFalco on there. Nice. I
try to make sure. I always like to put co-creators on my books as well. It's something you don't really see a lot.
You don't see it often, but it is, I think, something that can add to the desirability of a sketch long term.
For sure. So just don't ever tell Ron Ferenz about saying the name Arana. I want to butcher his name, but Arana, the spawn that is now considered Spider-Girl.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right. Well, we'll keep that. I'm not running and telling them. So you don't have to worry about that from me. Everybody else in the audience, it's between us.
That's
right. It's the Fandom Collectibles viewers. No snitching.
Let's stay with Ron Ferenz here on this next one. You can't go wrong with the Silver Sable. You don't see him a lot out in as far as sketches are concerned. So I felt since he was here, I had to get one.
Got it.
These types of characters are really, really nice to have because I prefer the females. There was a time when I wanted to start doing villains a lot more than I did females, but at the end of the day, you can't go wrong with doing a female over a male character in on a sketch blank.
I would say in terms of just desirability for most of the fan base, yeah, most dudes will put up more money for their old school crushes, and that's a good way to go in terms of picking characters. And anyhow, you're talking about anybody Spider-Man associated, that's also a safe bet. So with Silver Sable, long time solid Spider-Man ally, almost made it to live action. Sony was
with Black Cat, right?
Yep, Silver and Black. They were working on that for quite some time. It seems like that's on the back burner. But look, one trilogy down. Sony is retooling. All kinds of rumors about whatever comes next being more street-based, maybe tied to Daredevil, Kingpin. So I think there's still a real solid chance that we're going to see Black Cat or Silver Sable sooner rather than later.
Now, one thing I will say about this is he ended up deciding to go with the longer hair version because his version wasn't long. I know that was more Stephen Butler's thing, and he decided to doing the long hair version over her traditional hair that he had created for her.
And I get him maybe wanting to go with, his creation, but I think most people identify Silver Sable with the longer hair. So that's the safer way to go. So I think that worked in your favor, if anything.
Definitely. Yeah, I've been looking at this sketch for probably 4 years, and just being able to see it on eBay. I immediately messaged the seller that I knew on Instagram, and so I was like, this has got to be mine. And I'm just glad that we were able to come to an agreement on something. But you can't go wrong with a J. Scott Campbell sketch.
All right. Beautiful. Now tell us a little bit about what went on in terms of color and inking on this.
As far as I know, the last person that had this book was the one that had commissioned Jose Veris to ink and color it. I actually do have a photo of Campbell holding this as a pencil, so I know it's real. Outside of the fact that it does say that it's a verified signature, but this is not a witness sketch.
Got it.
Wow. I wish I knew more. I know that it was colored before I had my hands on it.
Got it. But I gotta say, believe me, folks, it is not easy to get your hands on a J. Scott Campbell original sketch cover. Not in the last 5 years or so. That's for sure, and probably further back than that.
Yeah, from my understanding, he doesn't even go to his booth, and his team does the booth, and he does his signings, I think, in the hotel, from my understanding. So it's not like you really see the guy anymore, rarely. So if you can get anything from him, if he wants to give you a remark, just make sure you hold on to it.
Sound advice. It's definitely a thing where J. Scott, we all know how popular he is. He's kind of on another tier. He's just not a guy who's hanging out in Artist Alley. And, when it comes to original work by him, very guarded. You have to really play your cards right in 2023 to come across a J. Scott Campbell original. So that is quite the score for sure. There's no denying that. Phil, definitely. I mean, people need to know a little bit more though in terms of where to find you and what you're selling, because again, on IG, you regularly have stuff in your stories and that you're posting that you're trying to move. So you want to just kind of talk a little bit about some of the artists whose work you have available?
I got some Stephen Butler stuff. I got a guy named Jesus Christ. I don't even know who I got right now, to be honest with you. I got some Bob Laytons. Yeah, Stephen Butler. That's probably my biggest one. Like he's he gives me quality work. He's not entirely too expensive, but he's just really busy right now. We got.
I love.
You can't. I'm not selling this. You want to buy this? It'll go $800. Tell you right now.
I understand.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my god.
He just did these for me this year. Before he's on a 6-7 month overseas vacation right now. So I got these at full price.
Comic Art Fans has a whole "Where in the World is Bob Layton" thing.
It's crazy, dude. He's doing some couch surfing stuff. There's people that are hosting him, and he's doing sketches for him, and just I mean, the amount of stuff that he's doing is just crazy.
It makes sense, though. I mean, the truth of the matter is, all
due
respect to Gene Colan and stuff, but he is the Iron Man artist.
Yeah, I mean, this would sell for what I want, probably, But
yeah,
I asked him. He's like, "Which suit did you want?" I was like, "Whatever you feel like doing. I don't care." I don't care. I mean, because at the end of the day, I don't even know what I got for sale on these. I mean, a lot of these I want to keep for myself personally.
Understood. Well, this is what I'm saying.
Riri.
Oh,
Iron Cat.
Oh, that is funny.
Dude, this is probably my favorite one. I'm just really mad at that grade.
Got it.
I mean, all right. Now here's a cool one. I asked him if he would I did these a year apart, and I asked him to try and have them connecting.
Got it. And I could see it.
And then you can't go wrong with the Mary Jane.
Oh man. And that's all Bob Layton.
And then when you really think about it, that looks like John right there, man. All day. I even said it. I was like, it looks like seniors. Like, you don't say.
It's true. I definitely can see it. It's John Romita Sr.'s MJ.
That's that Mary Jane for you right there.
Yeah.
I mean, and this right here would be something that's these are hard to come by now, even though I wish I could get a torso Sabine. I hope I'm saying her name right.
I think that's her name. Yeah, as far as I know, Sabine Rich.
Sabine Rich.
Yeah. think you got it.
Like I would love. I'm not a fan of pencil, man. I'm not a fan of this. I'm not a fan of this stuff. I really was thinking about getting an inker though. But
listen,
I'm not sure.
I'll say this: if it's something you really want to part with, I would say it's not a bad move. Like her profile is kind of getting raised. She's doing more and more store exclusives.
Yep.
I think there's going to be a healthy amount of interest now. You know, if you tried to sell her stuff, the pencil stuff, maybe a year or two ago, I think it would have been like, but she's gotten steady work now doing store exclusives. So I think people would be interested.
See, I got so many, man. It's like I think these two are like selling boxes, and I got a third one down here. And then, I mean, we got at least 20, 25 books in each one of them.
I hear you, man. Listen, you don't, like I said, you don't have to empty everything. I want people to get a glimpse. I want people to.
Let me see if I can find a good Leighton. I don't remember where my Leightons are, to be honest with you. My selling Leightons. I don't know. See, like a long time ago, I did Rubenstein at one point.
Rubenstein.
But people don't want to buy these. They want to buy the Thanos or Wolverine. And
got it.
Like, that's what makes it different for me, because I want something different. Like you don't get a Bob Layton Doc Ock. You know what I mean?
Understood. You know what?
These are for sale. Scorpion. This one came out really good.
That is very cool. So you have Bob Layton doing really Spidey's villains, pretty much.
I've done a bunch. That's kind of like I mean, everything I do is mostly Spider-Man related, and if I do something special, it's just because you can't go wrong with the Punisher. War Machine Punisher.
Oh, that's Bob Layton.
Bob Layton. Nope, nobody wants to buy it. Ultron.
Yeah, man.
That one's really nice. You got Iron Spidey.
That's also a nice pickup there.
There's a couple new ones now that I wanted to do. That like the new Miles got a new suit.
Yeah,
it's like really similar to this Iron Spidey, but black.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah, that was like maybe a couple of months ago.
It just came out this past week.
Oh, okay. See, I get confused sometimes with FOC, like having seen the cover a couple of months ago. But yes, Miles Iron Spider stuff is about to be, I think, next. Well, listen.
Yeah, I don't really know, man. Like, the one that I really like right now, I want to get him to do the Carnage one that he took that suit from the King in Black, the symbiote. Have him do that one again. But then again, I had Leighton do that suit too before Cletus took it.
Listen, nobody's gonna see that anywhere else. I mean,
like
you're commissioning stuff that most people just would not think to.
They wouldn't think to do that.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna do it, you gotta do it with the artist that maybe, even though it's in their style and it's kind of like an old school look. I like the old school look anyway. But me personally, if I'm gonna do anything, I like tight work. That's why I like an inker, because he's gonna give it to me just like that. Hash, like I like how hash marks are. It's just
that shading.
It's a certain way, like the old school way of doing things, instead of like they want to do everything in a digital way. And I'm not necessarily a fan of it. Like there's artists out there that will use their iPad, draw it, and then redraw it on the book, which I have an artist that just did that here recently for me. I like the idea of that, but it's not the same,
Understood. I mean, I think you're never going to get to a point where people are upset about people taking a traditional approach. It may not necessarily be as popular like immediately, but people who know what's up understand, the value of more traditional art and those classic looks. Again, like anything Bronze Age, Copper, like that's the fan base. That's who has the money right now. To really be able to spend on a lot of OA. So
I mean, like Stephen Butler, look at that. full on sketch cover. It looks great for one character, right? Like, you're not even
Absolutely.
getting half of that from an artist that's like hot right now.
No, you're not getting any real background.
In
That
full
is
color.
awesome. Yeah, that's great, man.
Like, I don't even know if I would part with things like that. There's this one right here that I had him do of that was Ben Reilly, but he's in like a newer Spider-Man suit with like that weird off-center. I don't know if you can see it, but there's like an off-center webbing. It's not necessarily like centered, but it's like off to the side, and then he has these like weird suction cup things on his feet. But
I do see it. Yeah,
you know, I think ain't nobody really asking for this, and once someone actually did see one put up, then they ended up doing it themselves too after I had done one.
got it.
But these are the reasons why it kind of sucks when I'll be like, I don't like. But the artists sometimes will just post the art themselves, and then
Right.
That's kind of how they end up getting more stuff. I would imagine like, oh, but even with Butler, he says he gets 1 million Scarlet Spiders, like 1 million. Obviously, that's what he was known for.
Right. And then with Spider-Verse, raising the profile a little bit, we had a little bit of Ben Reilly on the big screen.
I talk to him like once or twice a week. Seeing as we still have some stuff currently going on. I mean, I can't see myself not working with him every year because he's just really good to work with. And when he's like on it, he's on the ball. And I've seen him knock out like 5 like cover sketches, like quality wise, in like 5 like a week. That's not too bad, but he's doing a lot of stuff with Archie right now, and that's just kind of like killing him with the fact that he's still probably got other commissions to do as well.
Got it. Listen, man. Ooh,
it's the Thor and all black, King in Black, or
yes.
no, they call it. This is the Universe Galactus guy. I can't remember his name right now. That
I know who you're talking about. I can't remember either. But that's impressive. That's also Butler.
This is also Butler. Yep.
Very cool.
It's really hard to because at the time I think there's only like a couple images of the character. And so for him to do it in that sense, because the fact that like literally the guy is supposed to be like even bigger than Galactus at this point, but I could go on for days about this because there's so much.
Listen, it's been fun. I'm sure the audience learned quite a bit about, again, what's possible. We're talking about veteran artists, many of whom have made a name working on specific characters. You've reached out to these people. You've established a solid rapport. And you're getting work from them on a regular basis. The stuff that you really love, you're holding on to. The other stuff is available. So again, Phil is somebody you need to follow on IG. I'm going to look to have him back because obviously there's so much stuff. And, hopefully we piqued the interest of quite a few of you out there. So let me know what's up. Make sure you comment. Make sure you follow Phil the Thrill Collectibles on IG. Would love to have him back. Sketch guide for Fandam Collectibles. Until next time. Have a good one.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah, for sure.